get started yet. Appreciate you all showing up. And some of you are going to be on replays. Most of you will be on replays. And it is just flat out beautiful here in Idaho today. I didn't say Colorado. I'm getting used to living here. It is 79 degrees and clear and calm and going to be like that the rest of the week. So it was still not a year that we've been here. We would have formally moved in on October 28th of last year. We were going back and forth some before that, but we didn't actually move in until the 28th. Still love it. Wished I had the property space that we had in Colorado, but we're in the process of buying another property up in the mountains here, about 3-hour drive from us. And if we get that purchase done, it's not guaranteed. They always say in sales, it's never over till it's over, but we will then have a lot more property and be able to be able to take advantage of that kind of situation like we had in Colorado again. For EAT, or the EAT community, and for live presentations and live activities. And I believe I've showed some images of our site in Colorado, excuse me, in Idaho up in the mountains. I might log in separately on my phone. If I did that, Mark, I could avoid feedback, right? So I could use the phone to show images because they haven't migrated to my
Yeah. Yep.
desktop yet.
Right. But you have to keep your phone muted so you don't get a feedback.
Let's try it right now. We are open, but just a little bit
Right.
of thing with Zoom. So I'm going to take my phone here and log in there. Mark sent me the link, and so all I got to do is click on it and keep the phone volume way down. If not, sign in to start. Zoom is always, it asked me, it now wants me to update Zoom Workplace on my phone. I just used a Zoom call earlier today on it. And now it's having me in the middle of the day update. So, here, it's telling me to update the stupid Zoom app.
Bummer.
And then I've got to put in because it's new, I got to put my, okay, so now I can open it. I don't want to switch. I just want to get in as another person. Hope this doesn't kick me out. If it does, you'll just hear me somewhere else. Nah, got me in.
Right.
So,
You're in.
yep. And I'm going to say no audio on this one. Does that work? That works. That'll work, won't it?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I can stay the co-host. And then I can go to shared screen on this one, right? And let's see, it's being recorded. What did I just do? Spam risk. No, I don't want that. Get out of here. Somebody just called me from South Dakota and it's spam. And I don't want to talk to you. All right, now. Our share screen. To enter a sharing key or meeting ID to share a Zoom room. What? It's not letting me share.
Oh.
And how did it, I guess I turned my audio off. Why is it not showing the picture on,
It will,
I, and actually I'm gone. It just booted me.
right. So you might have to like go back in.
Okay, trying that again.
Yep, you're on.
Recording in progress.
There's the, yeah,
Yeah,
good.
you'll have to turn down the volume and
Gotta mute
then,
this.
yeah,
Hey,
mute that.
co-host, mute. Okay, I'm muted. Now there's three of me. Yeah. Okay, that works. Now let's see if I can share screen. More. Um, oh, doesn't say share screen on, I'm looking at, this is on my iPhone, Mark. Do you have any, I'm looking where oh, there it is. Got share. Photos. Ah, cool. I can share my photos. There we go. Just a little bit of what my recent travels were. There's still a little bit of a echo. Do you hear that?
I think it's fine. I don't hear a lot of echo.
Are you seeing my screen? Oh, I have to do something else.
I see the phone, um, with your picture.
Yeah, that's me on my desktop, but it says it should be showing.
Yeah, it's showing both of you.
There we go. Is
Yep,
it showing
we
it
see.
now? Now it's
Right.
showing it.
They,
Yeah.
there it is. Yes.
This is a very amazing, huge 780,000 square feet. Let's see if I can blow it up. Yeah. New industrial building in Vandalia, Ohio. And by the way, which of these would I mute?
You should keep your phone muted.
I
Yeah, I
know,
think it's
got it.
fine.
I've got it
Yep.
muted.
Right. You're good.
Um, or maybe I should mute the speaker, all the microphone. I've muted that. Anyway, this is a building that we looked at, Teresa and I, that's vacant. It's really close to our site. And we're not sure why it's vacant. Just look at some other pictures here. This is a manhole cover outside of our building that's got some slime on the top of it. That is a potential environmental problem. So I just wanted to, I don't know which direction these go. Why are they not moving? Not able to get this to move.
Yeah, uh it is moving. So I see the building now.
Yeah, but
And
it just going back and forth between these two images.
right, there's
This one,
two images.
I was hoping it would go through all of them, which is what I
Oh,
wanted to
oh,
do. Um, Go back to share photos. Maybe I have to pick a photo and then it just shows that.
right. You could, but
This is
if they're stored in your phone, it should go into like gallery.
right.
And
Right.
yeah,
I'm picking some to show.
right.
This is a building in downtown. You have to actually click on the pictures, which I'm doing, and then it's going to
All
show.
right. Okay.
So we'll see which ones of these we have here. All right, so let's say show selected. All right, that building in the distance there is a building that we tried to buy at an auction yesterday. It's got some environmental issues. It is a office building. And if we were to buy it, we would tear out every other floor and make it into taller ceilings on each of the floors so that we could have some kind of commercial use. So I'm just showing that because that's where I was at. That's just a different view of that same building. This is an interesting thing. And that's not showing up. Why is that not showing up? I guess I have to click. So it's not showing my screen. Okay, add. All right, now it is. Let's see if it does.
Yep. We see the building and the street view. Yep,
Yeah,
there it is.
now, yep, there it is at a different view. That's the same building, just at a different angle. This one is, that is a piece of artwork, Mark. Can you believe that?
Oh, I thought it's a toy store with
No, it's a piece of art.
okay.
And it's done by this fella right here that in a minute, this is also his art. So, and I'm not talking about the images, which that might be the Beatles there. And there's just different, this would have been, this portion of this building was used as his gallery. So these are the kind of art that he does. And supposedly he was off the charts famous. And let's see if we can find, I have a picture of him. Here's him. We're going to look him up because I haven't done that yet. Look up this guy, Robert Blake, no, Blacksmore. No, Robert Blackstone. Robert Blackstone. And this is him. So look him up, Mark, and then once you
Yep.
find his stuff, he died a year ago. You can see that he died August 1st, 2023.
Okay.
I guess he came from rags to riches, became an amazing artist. All that stuff I showed you was his art, and it's like off the charts valuable, I guess. And anyway,
Yeah, I
as
found
soon as you find it, you take the screen away.
okay, I found um
You don't need to take the screen. Just tell us
uh,
what it says about him. Does it have a wiki page for him?
okay, I'm looking at like several pictures and then
Alicia just put up a link.
oh, okay. So I
Pull
can go
that
to
link up and show it.
right. I can just go to that. Let's see. I can share that. Um, let's see. Okay, so here's a page. Robert
So yeah, it says he
Blackstone.
found extraordinary in the ordinary. There he is. He was
Right.
42 when he died, it looks like.
And Crystal City installation bridges was a whimsical and thought-provoking.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, scroll down. Let's read the article, see what it says. All right, stop there. Figurines, mirrors, ornaments, stuffed animals, train sets. Do you remember that picture I
Mm,
showed train sets?
yes.
And
Yeah, that's
uh,
why I thought it was a toy store because
and,
there
and,
are.
yeah, found the installation known as Crystal City. That's what he called it.
Mhm.
Okay, so he died. Oh, he was 51. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Downtown Dayton of a gunshot wound in the chest. Wow, horrible.
Yeah.
Um, So this is the building that we were trying to buy. That was a bank up there on that next floor. And then above that is a parking garage. There's 4 stories of a parking garage. So there's that same piece of art that you saw me take the picture of. And I
Mhm.
think this whole thing is a police zone because the guy was murdered.
Right.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah, you see these yellow tapes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's
okay.
police. The artwork, many objects. Says the article, okay. Always in flux. The city is building it there. Before it was housed in the Lee building, it was somewhere else. So keep going down. Right. So just talks about his artist stuff. So keep going. All right. There are those. See, remember I showed those little pictures on the floor? There they are.
Right.
And
Yeah. And here's the police line.
yeah.
Do not cross. Right.
So keep going. I want to see because I think the guy was a very wealthy artist.
There's another one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Blackstone, 30 hours a week to building his collection there. He had a big heart, says down here. Oh wow. They got the guy that shot him.
hmm.
So they're trying to find a home for all that artwork.
Right. So once someone buys the building and repurposes, then all
I'm
these,
gonna real quickly talk to Joe here, tell him to get on the webinar.
okay,
Send him a link.
okay.
Ah, crap. Didn't he went away. Um, I wouldn't mind him being on if we can talk about part of what we did this week. So
Um,
there's a phone number you can call if you'd like to discuss ideas, because I would bet whoever bought that building in this auction is going to want all that stuff out of there. Go back up and click on that article that says a ride. Here's another one there. Right down, but farther down, Mark.
further down.
Right
Okay.
there. Photos, a trip inside Crystal City. So it looks like there's more photos. Click on that.
Mm,
Is that clickable? You are right there. Big.
okay, okay. All right, let's see. Does it, okay, it opened up. Yep. Do you see it?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Okay.
That up on the ceiling there, we're not seeing it yet, is something that shows the Wright brothers plane.
Huh.
And there was speculation that it was worth more than the building.
Oh,
So
wow.
whether all this art, I just thought about it. Maybe we should have bought the building just to get the art. There's a place where you can click right down below here and see more pictures. There's 56 pictures, so keep going
Yeah,
through.
I think I can click and slide these.
Yeah. So there's him when he was in there.
Yeah.
Boy, it shows you art could be anything, doesn't it?
Mm, yeah. But I don't understand this form of art. Uh, but
I bet
I'm
Alicia does.
I'm
Comment on
sure.
it. Alicia. Look at that. Oh, there's all.
Mm, Okay, so yeah, a lot of different stuff and
I'm gonna log,
ribbon.
I'm gonna log off of this phone because I can
Okay,
actually quickly, I'm gonna call Joe, tell him to jump on the webinar.
okay. So how do I give him the link?
You just send that same email you sent to me to him, I believe, don't you?
Yeah, but let me see if I have his email. So
I have left it, so I'm calling Joe.
okay.
Okay, call him. Jumpin' Joe from Kokomo, you are on live on the EAT webinar, where we are looking at downtown Dayton. And just as you called me, I said, we should call Mr. Joe. So Mark's going to send you a link. Mark is my back office guy, my producer, as they say. Click on the link and jump in the webinar. We'll talk about our meeting with Tyler Jacobs of the US EPA. Did Mark send you the link?
No, I haven't, but
Send, yeah, just copy mine and send it the one that he sent to me.
yeah,
It'll be,
but I
can't you
gotta
just,
find his email.
you probably get notices of it, Joe.
Yeah, if he's a member.
You're a member, you should be getting notices. You should have got something earlier today. Here, I'll send it from mine.
Okay. Oh,
Well, it's going to take me a second to send it from mine. Let me minimize this, pull it up, forward this to you. We are seeing technology today, Joe Aiken. You use your AOL? Is that the one you can send it to? Right. All right. It's coming your way, and there's just a link in there that you can just click on. We'll stay on here until you get there. Or do you need to jump off of this?
Adding all the analytical data to the report.
I've just upped your volume. I kind of like you to see what we're looking at on the screen anyway, because you'll kind of be a little interested in it. So before we had our meeting, Teresa and I went and looked at 6 or 7 different assets in the in the Dayton area that are for sale. And I got to see how I now enlarge in what I minimized. How do I enlarge in this, Mark? Mark, tell us when Joe's in.
okay. I'm looking at.
How do once I've minimized this, how do I get it to be enlarging, Mark? I'm clicking on there. Here, I got it. I just
Okay.
did it. It worked.
That's my Zoom password.
Yeah, that's right. You probably do have one. You probably
Yeah,
done Zoom calls.
yeah, I'll send him the guest link. That way he can just use that. So
I'm going to take over the share for a
okay.
second here while.
Yeah, I'm working on it because I'm cleaning up my computer today. Now I have to
Oh, don't worry.
get my password, but I don't remember what my password for Zoom is.
No worry. No worry. We'll get there.
Yeah,
Are
Yeah,
you
we'll
seeing a live plan of business plan right now on
right.
the screen, Mark? You seeing that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So while we're waiting for Joe to get on, we're going to look at this for a little bit. Be ready to take the screen back and we'll show him that image again.
Yeah, I'm resetting my password, so
Okay.
it might take me.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. So this is a app/program I would highly recommend to anyone in the EAT community who is going to do a business plan. Unfortunately, I don't believe there's a free version of it, but there is one that costs as little as $20 a month. But if you're going to write a business plan, you don't do it all the time. So buy it for a month, write the business plan, and don't renew it. And then you want to use it another year later or whatever, write another business plan. So this is inside of one that I'm writing right now. I'm going to show you different parts of it just so you see what it looks like. This is the sidebar. That's the way that you navigate it. Are you seeing that? Did that show up, or is it still just seeing the screen behind it, Mark?
My connection went down a little bit. Yeah, we see the setup. Yeah, we
See where
see
it
that.
says live plan, guide,
Right.
plan, forecast?
Yep. Yes.
All right.
Seeing
I
all
just
that.
done that, and now it's showing the plan, but I could go to guide here, and then
Yes.
it shows you all the different parts of your business plan.
Right.
And when they are in green, it means you have told it that you're done with them, that you're ready to publish them. When they're like this, when they're in yellow, it means that you are still editing them. Now you can print the plan before you're ready to make it final. So I've done that. For example, here is a PDF of the last version that I had of it. And here it is. So this is for this property that we're buying in a place called Riggins, Idaho. And the holding name, at least that we have for it, and I'd love to get everybody on the webinar's opinion about it, is that we're going to be calling it the Resort at Riggins Hot Springs. Since about 1935, it has been called Riggins Hot Springs. We're adding the resort onto it because we want to be a little different than what it has been and get a little different take, but also we want to make sure people know that it's under new ownership. So this is a slogan that we got from AI. By the way, I got 20 different slogans. I'll show you in a minute how I prepared this business plan. I used ChatGPT, which, are you seeing that now, Mark? You seeing the Riggins Hot Springs logo?
Yep.
Which, what have I had you do in the past, Mark, when you've used logos that we make with AI and they've got mistakes in them? And this one just has several mistakes. It shouldn't have that there, shouldn't have this
Right.
on this side. It shouldn't
Yeah.
have this resort. So what program can we use? It's one that we have.
We can use Canva to
Yeah.
edit.
Yeah.
So I use
yeah. So I've done that, and
right.
here it is in a form without those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we can use this, and I actually did use it in Live Plan for the pitch. So that's another, this will not just make business plans. It'll also, are you in? heard something there.
Yep, I think he's in.
You are in, so I'm gonna, yeah, you hung up on my phone, so you're in. I hung up, so now won't have feedback. You there, Joe? Yep, you're there. You don't need to, if you want to turn your camera on, you can. If you don't worry about it.
Right, he can,
working it.
he's,
But we don't hear you now. Sometimes when you get in, it'll mute itself. You might have to look at the bottom of your screen and unmute.
I think, yeah, Joe is here.
I'm working
Alicia
at
is
it.
also-
There we go.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Unmute.
Um,
Now I'm
Mark,
unmuted.
Mark,
you
you
hear me?
know what to do here, by the way. Good. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
There we go. And then I got to work on this here, working this, minimize this thing.
So Joe and his partner Song were on a Zoom call with myself and two of our staff that are in Vandalia, which is where we've talked about projects that we do, and one in particular at an ex-General Motors and Delphi manufacturing facility. And it was our first time in 20 years that an EPA person has come and visited us. Alicia, we will unmute you, but please don't yell. Last time you were on, you were yelling into the machine, so just don't do it. We'll unmute you if you'd like. Mark can do that.
Yeah, I will, if, yeah, in a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alicia, what's up?
Thank you very much.
What's up?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
we can barely hear you, I think.
Yeah.
Thank
So-
you.
All right. Well, do you have something you'd like to say to the group?
Yes, hello to everybody.
Hi. Good to see you. Where are you at in the world today?
I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Gosh. So we say this every week. How many different places do you spend any time at during the year?
I stay with different friends of mine.
So like how much, it's September, approximately how many different places have you been in 2024?
About 15 or 20.
Wow, that's fun. That's great. All right. Well, you can chime in when you'd like here, but Joe, let's talk about the meeting a little. Just first, I want to finish giving some perspective to everybody. So we were there on Tuesday to meet with the representative of the USC EPA, which is a young man named Tyler Jacobs. And in 20 plus years of being involved with this project from an environmental perspective, the people managing it, and we haven't managed it all that time. We've managed it for the last 8, so it's been a while. But before that, another company called Haley and Aldrich managed it. And in all that time, no representative of the entity managing it, US EPA, has ever been to the site. So, and this guy came, drove down from Chicago. And Joe, he was so hurried to get the heck out of there that we finished the call, probably talked for another 5 minutes, and he was out the door. And headed back to Chicago. Told us thank you, complimented you and us on what we're doing. We had already taken him on his tour around the site before, so he had seen that. He didn't want to see the groundwater treatment building, so we didn't show him that, but we did show him where the pilot system is, and he took a bunch of images of that, so you'll be pleased to hear that. And he did tell us, if you guys do this for another year and it appears things are going in the right direction, I'll let you turn the groundwater system off.
Wow.
That's a big deal. Good
That is a
result.
big deal.
Now, he didn't promise that, and I'm not sure he can make that decision. I'm sure that's got to go above his head, but starting with the right person. How much do you think they really ever get innovative projects to look at?
Not never like this. I think they get big companies out there which want to get on the kind of the payroll and do that kind of thing, but I don't think they get this kind of thing very often. So
By the way, the other conversation I had at the end of the day was with Jake, who's the owner of the site, and with Serta. And, and he called me, and he never calls me. So, I mean, he knew the meeting was occurring. He was invited to be there, but he's, excited to help hopefully get to the point where we can move to doing this. Now, what he hasn't thought about is, as you get us a proposal to move it from the pilot to a full scale, there's going to be a big price tag associated with that. So let's not talk about that right now. I don't think that's something we need to publicize, but it will. And he's, for whatever reason, I'm guessing, forgotten that. So, but if it works, and we turn the groundwater treatment system off, we immediately save him 30,000 a month.
yeah.
Approximately. So anyway, great news. And Joe's working on the final report for the pilot that we've done. Oh, and he did approve another month, Joe. And I don't think it's going to be hard at all to then get the full approval to do another 3 quarters if that's what we all believe we should do. Is that where you're leaning right now?
Yeah, that's what my recommendation was, that we did 3, that we would expand this at least to running the existing system so that it ran for 2 years and we see what it does. And then we can also think about putting in a third pilot in the shallower aquifer. If we wanted, we could think about putting in expanding pilot system B so that we have better coverage right around the conduit. So there's a couple of recommendations in there, but at a minimum, I'd like to see us run it for another year because we're just really starting to see that e-redox kick in. So,
by the way, I'm going to pull up another email here and show you something. So tell everybody a little bit in more detail. You've already done this on one webinar, but now.
yeah, we did. I mean, Song and I came on and we gave a webinar about the e-redox. If you weren't there, or just as a refresher, e-redox is a very it's an electrical remediation technology. And basically what you do is you put a couple of electrodes in the ground, you apply a current to them so that you get an electrical field in the subsurface in the groundwater. And then that electrical field does 3 things. One is it stimulates natural biodegradation. So typically, and this is for chlorinated solvents, but it's also applicable to a lot of other chemicals, but I'm talking about chlorinated right now. And you basically apply the current, you get an electrical field. The electrical field stimulates microbiology, or the microbes that are doing the biodegradation, and they are stimulated because there's a lot of electrons for them, and it helps them do their metabolic processes. Second thing it does is it creates abiotic degradation, and abiotic degradation is not biological, it's just natural degradation that occurs. And in any aquifer, you typically have some abiotic degradation going on, but it's usually such a small percentage of anything that's happening in that natural attenuation in the aquifer that no one ever paid attention to it. But it turns out that the abiotic reactions are limited by the number of electrons that are available. And when you create the electrical field, you've created an immense number of electrons, so that those it might go from 1% of the degradation to 40% of the degradation. So abiotic becomes very important, and you can tell the difference between the abiotic and you can tell the difference between the abiotic degradation and the biological degradation by the byproducts that are made, because
In situ.
when you go with the microbiological approach, you end up with TCE going to DCE, dichloroethylene going to vinyl chloride, that typical degradation chain. When you degrade it on the abiotic, it goes to acetylene, and acetylene is actually a very good bug food, so it actually helps stimulate the biological a little bit. And then the third thing it does is the electrical field actually changes the surface chemistry of the soil or the rock or whatever the clay that you're in, that you've created the electrical field in. And compounds like TCE, if you have 100 parts per billion in the water, you probably have 10 times that mass or more on the soil, and that mass being stuck to the soil, it doesn't come off very quickly naturally, and that makes for a long-term source and a long-term remediation. With when you get the electrical current going and you change that surface chemistry, it desorbs the material from the surface of the soil matrix, and then basically what happens is you would immediately see an increase in the TCE concentrations, which is what we saw in our pilot, and then you'd see a decline in concentrations, and so that is another typical thing with e-redox. And the amount of electricity that we're using is equivalent to a 40-watt light bulb. It's not a lot. I mean, this isn't a very highly, there are electrical processes like heating. You could do electrical heating of the ground, but you also kind of brown out the neighborhood when you use that technology because it uses a lot of electricity. This is a very low amount of electricity, equivalent to a 40-watt bulb for one system. So that's what we did. Wayne's been flipping through a lot of figures here.
I want to talk about this, so let's
Yeah,
go
go ahead.
So in the comment, a series of comments that the EPA made, mainly from probably a consultant, I doubt that Tyler actually did this, but somebody they hired, one of them was, why are we seeing a difference in the potentiometric maps? And I'll describe what that means here in a second. In the April report, which shows, in this case, we're looking at the Top of Rock, Sugar Rock, Belfast. So we're looking at essentially our deepest layer.
That's
And
the top of
you're
rock
seeing-
the top of rock is the middle layer. The sugar rock is the bottom.
Yeah, deep bedrock, sugar rock. And so
that's
this
sugar rock. Okay, yeah, that's
this
sugar
is
rock.
the deep, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So it's the deep layer, the deep bedrock. And what this shows is what the water level is at an elevation when we measured it in November or March 17th, 2024. Okay. And because we took so many measurements, you can predict a little bit like what a contour map would be above ground for land surface, like where you live. If it showed a map of your backyard and had any slope on it, and you could measure it, you could see it. On my property in Colorado, you know that I live down at the bottom of a valley, and up on the sides of the hill, it was 600 to 700 feet taller. So in this case, we're seeing it's 950 right here. It gets shallower out this way. And right here, which, by the way, guess what's right there, right, Joe?
Yeah.
That's right where we have the pilot scale, the pilot samples right here. The highest elevation of this deep bedrock is, I mean, literally right on top of where we've approximated a little bit farther back. This, by the way, is where we believe the TCE storage tank was, right out here, right where I'm circling with my cursor. So these are that's one. Here's another one in February. Okay, so that was in March. Here was in February. Still same look. Here was in January. Same look. Here was in December. No, not the look. Okay. Why would that be, Joe? That we moved from now, remember, this is while your system's running, but notice that's what he's talking about is the discrepancy. Why does this look so different from December to January to February and March, which look exactly the same? So what's going to be interesting as we do this new report, which is due in 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks, we'll now have monthly measurements for the next 2 quarters, and we'll see what this looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've looked at this and you've expected it to be this way, but
Yeah, I haven't seen these figures yet, so as a matter of fact, what I expected it to look like is more like this slide you have up than the other slide.
right. And this is the deep, and that's November. So
Yeah.
in November, it looked like this. December, it looked like this. But as we move to January, February, March, it now looks like this. So what we'll have in the new report we're working on right now is April, May, June, July, August. April, May, June, July, August. Yes, 5 more months. That's what he was talking about. Now,
Yeah.
here's what's interesting. Now, let's go back. Let's close this and do a search for Aaron again to the one in April. That's the October one. Let's look at this one. Let's just see what this one looks like. Nice thing is, for doing these every 6 months, they all look alike in terms of where you find things. And so it'll be easy to find here. It's going to be right here. We're going to go down to the deep.
That's second sand.
Yeah, it's the last one, so it's going to take me a while. There we are. Here's deep in April last year. Nothing. Not this mound. It's really a mound. Everybody, that's what this is. The groundwater, this body of water, this second sand, deep bedrock is elevated in these most recent 3 months. There's May, there's June, there's July, there's August, there's September. That's it. That's all we have. So they all look the same, and it made a change that if you haven't looked at these, this is also showing that I believe the pilot scale system made a difference. Otherwise, how would you explain what happened there? Now we need to have several more minutes of this kind of data. But
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go and look at the data, but initially, like if you go to the top of rock, let's go top of rock.
Here it is.
There it is, and you see that same feature, right?
Yep.
Which is this is the top of rock draining down that hole.
Yep.
And this is what we're taking advantage of because our system is at the top of rock, right on the edge of that. If you consider that like a cyclone or a, it's being sucked down from the top aquifer, it's going 50 feet down into the lower aquifer. That's the point where it all drains down, and it's like we call it the conduit, but it's really a drain. And so on top of that rock to the west of that whole thing over by where the spill was. There's a pool of high concentration
Right here.
mass. It's a
Right
big
here.
pool. 95% of the mass, we've calculated 95% of the mass, or not 95, 91% of the mass is located in that pool. And then that pool is just slowly draining down into the bedrock. And that's what's creating the big plume that goes off the site.
Just another little bit of perspective, everybody. The Dayton Airport is right here. Literally, this would be the end of a runway. This was a large building, 700,000 approximately, that has been demolished for 20 years, Joe, is that right? We must be
Yeah,
getting close to
at
it.
least.
And there was a storage tank for TCE right here, right outside of this building. And there was a second one that was maybe right here. I don't think they were under
No, I
that
think there were,
demolished building. They were out here in this area. These buildings here, 48 and 47, they're real. By the way, they're not, we call it demarcated. There are just walls up here. So this is really all one big building of 700,000 square feet. Anyway, that's still there. It exists still on the site. The plume is moving or has moved away from where the spill was this way. The Miami River is over here, Greater Miami. So just to give you a perspective, this is the interstate right here, off ramp going over to the site. And where we're pumping water from to go into a water treatment system that's right over here, is we have 3 wells, one of them right by the water treatment system building here, and 2 more right over here at different depths. And I'm trying to make it a little
and
simple.
Wayne, while you're on that figure, let's go back there. The results of our pilot after 1 year of operation, we have 2 wells that are key monitoring wells that are like showing the performance of the system. One is called RFW1, and the other one is 424 shallow, right? And after 1 year in RMW1, we got 70% reduction. We went from 130,000 parts per billion of TCE down to about 27,000 parts per billion of TCE.
That's right here, everybody. That's right.
Yeah,
where
right in the, that's really
right
close to the
in the
source area.
Yep, right
And
where
then
that
further
tank
down
is.
gradient, right on the edge of that drain there, we had a system that was both the first system, Pilot A, was just E-redox alone. And then the second system was E-redox combined with emulsified vegetable oil and microorganisms for a reductive dehalogenation. And so by doing that, we were able to get an 85% reduction. It went from about 50,000 down to about 8,000 in a year at that location. So you can see why we'd like to run it for another year to see if we can improve upon those. But a really key element that happens with this, and with Wayne pointing out all these, the water flow and how things are flowing, is the treatment plant, which is located over there, where his cursor is. The treatment plant, immediately when we turned on our system, we sampled the treatment plant for the deep aquifer, for the Sugar Rock, which is the deep zone, every month, once a month, and they sampled it just right before we turned on our treatment system in July of 23. And by August of 23, we'd had about a 90% reduction in the TCE concentration at that well, at the inlet, and which continued through the whole pilot, for the whole year of the pilot. And we took out about 95% by the end. 95% of the TCE at the inlet of the treatment plant was reduced just by the little pilot that we did, and just by the location we picked, because we were getting 85% reduction. And by the time it got to the deeper aquifer, there's dilution and all that type of thing traveling over there. So we saw a really substantial decline, and we learned a little bit about the aquifer because it only took 1 month to go by several hundred yards, because where that deep drain is versus the treatment plant may be, I'm going to guess it's 300 or 400 yards, maybe a couple, four football fields or something like that. And that was pretty amazing. But the pilot, really, we learned a lot about the geology and the hydrogeology here. and it was fairly successful. So
Yeah. And by the way, everybody, 509-page report. We have to prepare that for this project every 6 months. And it isn't as much work as you think doing 509 pages would be, because a lot of it is just kind of updating what was there previously from the last time we prepared it. But it's still a lot of work. So here's what Joe's talking about. This is the well. Look at the TCE levels in, where's the date here?
third quarter.
8/24, Joe started his project in August, right? That month.
We started it in almost the middle of July, so 23. Yeah.
So just a month earlier than this. And this is where the groundwater treatment building is. And this is where that deep water well is. And this is Sugar Rock that we're seeing here. But look at just across the road over here, 19,500 highest levels of this contaminant anywhere here. Here's we don't have anything there.
Yeah, that's not doing much.
Here's right where that tank probably was, 155,000.
Yeah, that's just up gradient of our treatment system.
Yeah. And here's one. These are all less than, these are low.
These are the shallow.
Yeah, this is a shallow. More shallow. Here's one. This is the shallow still. And we've got some really elevated levels underneath the building itself. We've always gotten them at this well. Yeah, this is the occupied building here, warehouse above it. And
what's interesting about that data point right there was that was our original location for the e-redox treatment system.
yeah,
And we were going to drill 4 wells inside the building and put the e-redox system in there. But by the time we got around to it, the tenant had started moving things in, and we didn't have access to that anymore. So we moved outside to this location.
yeah, here we go too, Joe. We
Yeah,
have pictures.
So
Yeah.
there's 422 shallow right next to the building, and you can see the 4 e-redox wells around it. And then the well I talked about, RMW1, which got 70% reduction, that started off at 100,000, and then in the first quarter it went up to 130, and it was at 130 for a couple of quarters, and which was measuring the desorption of what was happening down gradient of it at right in our e-redox treatment zone. And then in our last quarter we had it go 70% reduction in 2 months, and it was not only a 70% reduction of TCE, it was an across the board reduction of all the other contaminants, some of which are more susceptible to the abiotic degradation. So we got non-detects on vinyl chloride, and several other chlorinated solvents were non-detect.
By the way, that's right over here, everybody.
Yeah,
Now we're
that's right
showing
there.
the second system that's out here.
And this is where you see the 6 wells in that array there, which creates a cutoff. So it's flowing towards 424 deep. We don't know exactly where the conduit is, but it's somewhere right around 424 deep and 424 shallow. Somewhere in that same area is what those contours are telling us. So we put our system upgrading of it so that the water would flow through our cutoff wall there, which first was injected with EVO and emulsified vegetable oil and microorganisms. And then we put e-redox electrodes in each of those wells. And so we have a big electrical field that it's flowing through there. And that's where we got 85% reduction in concentrations.
So here's the measurements that generated those, what we call potentiometric maps there. All right, well, we are close to the top of the hour. Let's just see if Alicia, who's still on here, if she had any other thoughts. And she put some pretty cool stuff in here about TCE. She always does. I'm looking at the chat right now. So when you get the replay of this, everybody, you can look and see what some of the comments and different cool information that Alicia's put in here for us. Alicia, who has been in 10 to 15 places since the first of the year. That's so cool that she goes and moves around and stays with friends in different places. As you heard Joe say, we are going to now increase this and do one more month for sure, but we're pretty sure we're going to get approval to do another 4 quarters of monitoring. And then it's about this time next year, we'll make the decision about whether we make this sort of a full-blown. In between now and then, we'll have Joe come on again and tell us what that means. So where we'll put more of these in. And we talked just as we started here, it's able to get us a $300,000 a year savings. And we're not going to talk no more than that, $360,000 a year at least. And we'll talk later if it gets approved at what the cost of it is. But over time, it's not going to be nearly what the cost of running this system that's not doing anything.
Right. I think the perspective on that $300,000 a year versus what it's going to cost up front for this is that we think that based on what we did with this pilot study, if we multiplied what we did by 10 times, and so we put a 10-time bigger system out there, we could take that 91% of the mass out of the ground in 5 years, right? As opposed to if you calculate how much mass they took out versus how much is in there, we estimated there was something on the order of 570 pounds of TCE just in that one area. And if you are, then they're taking it out at about 62 pounds a year. If you do the math, it's over 90 years and probably 100 years because the system it'll continually decline in concentration over time. So you'd have to do the $30,000 a year for 100 years in order to be able to shut the system off. We think we can do it in 5 years. And so that's the difference.
Yeah, very cool. Well, hey, everybody, awesome. Again, most of you are watching this as a replay. We would highly recommend you become members for free. And Mark, thanks for helping here. And you got any last things that you want to say?
No, I really enjoyed what you do, Wayne, and these are fascinating things. So yeah, thanks a lot for what you do.
In the background here, I clicked on a couple of the links that Alicia gave us. This is another business plan development program called Smartsheet. And I told you I'm using one called Live Plan. And I'm curious, Joe, have you ever used any of these online programs to write a business plan for something?
No, I haven't. I always go back to an old business plan and then rewrite it, right?
Yeah. That's what I did before I started to buy I get a subscription to this. And I was telling everybody it's $20 a month and I wouldn't keep it year round. I just buy it when I'm going to use it and then cancel it. So you use it for a month and get rid of it. I like this. I was just looking. Here's a 1-page, I do an executive summary, which probably will give most of what's on this 1 page. But I see it does have more, a little bit more in terms of milestones and things, which I have, but I might actually download this if it's available. It looks like it's free. So you can see what this does if I download it real quick. And it's not letting me download it yet. I'll do it after we get off here. Watch a demo, try Smartsheet for free. It's gonna make me put my name in. I know that. Yeah, put in your email address. I don't want to do that because I'll forget and then I'll have to pay whatever they really are going to charge for it. Well, Joe, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
And we'll stay in touch. Thanks, man.
Catch up with you sometime.